raring to go, showered, feeling good in the morning. Gonna try to eat something and then go see Pastor Bob's conference. Till then, later.
I got here yesterday morning, I left at 4 a.m. and I got here last night at about 7.
Where we kind of put all of our podcasters together and we act like we know what we're talking about. Well, we thought we'd do some of that today.
He does.
He knows what he's talking about. He does. So we want to do a little bit of that today. We're videotaping.
No, it was, well, I mean, my mother was a Christian. She brought us to church, you know, which I absolutely hated. And, well, anyways, the only way that I was able to see the Crucified is if I go to this festival called Cornerstone. I'm like, okay, well, that's like 24-hour drive from Connecticut to Illinois. And so it was me and 2 other people. They were also non-Christian people. And we drove a Camaro, a beautiful 78, 70. Well, anyways, so we get there, and before I left, you know, I was at a party, and they said, hey, you know, that's a Christian festival. There's a guy named Pastor Bob, stay away from him, you'll become a Christian. It's true. And so I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm gonna definitely avoid that guy. So go to the festival, and mind you, you know, we were probably one of many, many people that arrived there with drugs and alcohol and whatever. I was definitely one of those people. Tripping on acid, actually, that was what we chose to do. And the car that we were driving, the end of the festival, I saw none of this guy throughout the whole thing. I'm like, oh, it's successful, you know, and it's time to go. Went into Bushnell there to fill up so that we can drive. Filled up, came back, parked the car, and started packing this Camaro up, right? And then went to go start the car and start. Like, wouldn't even give a hint or anything. So, open the hood. And I'm not even kidding you, I mean, if anybody knows anything about an engine, you kind of know what it looks like when, you know, you pull the hood up, and it looked nothing like that. It was just this metal mess, and it was all messed up, and there was a mechanic two campsites down. He says, you guys having a problem? You know, I can help you. He goes, whoa, what happened to your engine? I go, I just drove it. I just drove this thing. And he goes, you're not going anywhere. We had to leave that thing. And this hippie guy said, I'll give you a ride to the airport, Peoria Airport. And so he drives us there. You know, we're upset because now we got to drop, what, over $1,000 at least for the 3 of us. And so I'm walking in, and mind you, still on acid, walking through, get to the airport, walk through the doors, and I see this head of hair. And it's like every demon inside me said, that's it. You know? So I'm like, well, I'm going to go up to him and say I met him and nothing ever happened, you know? So I went up there, and it was a very strange meeting. I know he thought I was probably very, very strange, because as soon as he turned around and his face on acid, let me tell you, it was like this guy came out of nowhere, and I was amazed. I'm like, okay, yeah, gotta get away. So we went, we had both had a layover, I think, it was like 45 minutes or something. And so I didn't see him, so we get on this small plane, you know, one of those ones you kind of dread. And get up there, see that head of hair, he's on my plane. And my seat assignment was right next to him. So, and I kind of was like, all right, you're messing with me, and I gotta know what's going on here. And he's just kind of looking at me, it looks like we're supposed to talk, you know. Both had a layover in Indianapolis, and we sat there and talked, and the rest is history, really.
Yeah.
So, Lutheran Church as a deacon, and you helped me with, Pastor Bob has been pushing me for many years to, actually to join the Wise Guys before video was anything the Sanctuary did, on YouTube at least. Back in the day when Jamie and some other guys and Bob did the Wise Guys. And I didn't feel ready for the first 5, 6, 7 years. Well, you got me.
We got you.
And that has helped me grow as in, my identity as, first of all, a son of God and a Christ follower. And then as a deacon, that I got the title, but we can all have the title as Christians, but if we don't do anything about it, it's just a title. So I was feeling the same thing, me being a deacon, that what does that even mean? Is it just something, okay, I passed math, and I passed English, I passed diaconia, but no, really let it sink in and become a part of me, because that is a calling and something I feel passionate about, serving other people. But if I may spend a couple of minutes about something else, then when Jamie was telling the story, I've heard the story a few times, but actually I think that the car details, that was something new with us, to me. Crazy. But the first time I met Pastor Bob was in Sweden in 2004, and called Bobfest, named after Bob. So I came over from Denmark. I just started in a metal band in Denmark, called Barricades, and we were the first Christians to do this kind of music. Denmark was far behind. Norway and Sweden have been going on for many years. We were latecomers. So I just heard about this Bobfest, and I wanted to go to experience being a Christian and actually have a festival, and other people like us, and inspiration and mentors and so on. And so we kept, on the path. And one thing that really blew me away was that Pastor Bob Eamon, the living legend, that he was the most present and relatable person. Like at the festivals, all the festivals in Europe, and especially in Europe when we traveled around, Pastor Bob would stand at the door and shake everybody's hands, get the eye contact. And it was just something that really blew me away, that I was not used to. And I think most people are not used to. A lot of people are, what? Okay? That you're the one with the handout right away. So that was really cool, and you've been a great inspiration, role model for me for many years now.
And you got your first tattoo at Bobfest.
Yes. See what you've done to me. So then the next year,
And I've been corrupting you ever since.
We grew a beard out the same year, actually 2004, and a goatee. And somehow you found time to just really invest in me that weekend. We talked a lot. So the next year I went back, and we kept missing each other. Didn't have much time to really talk. Then on Sunday, at the end of the festival, it was time to leave. Jamie comes up to me, and everybody are having the backpacks and stuff ready to go. And Jamie just speaks into my life in just a crazy way that I've never had an experience at that point, where all the things you said was just like things that I had no idea how you knew, and it wasn't because Bob had told you, but you started out with the perspective that what Pastor Bob sees in me, and then just building me up, and that was the beginning of, in my heart, really what became Sanctuary Denmark, I guess, and the whole movement of dedicated Christian metalheads in Denmark serving. So that was huge encouragement. And then I ended up living with this guy in his studio in his house for a couple of years, at least a year. And then I want to say that, hey, I feel so privileged and to be honored. It's grateful where when he came into the group, I've always been the glue of the group,
that I guess we all bring life to the party, but you bring life to the party, but also the group. You send out group texts. You make sure that we get the group pictures. You post about it, and you even did podcasts with each one of us to build us up and to get us connected. So that's amazing. And then Chris Dorman, your dedication to the word and the teaching has really helped me grow in my faith.
Yes.
It is. Make sure you watch all of Chris Dorman's teaching podcasts. All the preparation he does to do a 5-10 minute or 10-minute video. It's crazy. Most of us, we just turn on the camera. But Chris,
Well, I have to encourage you with one thing that you guys do also. But one of the things I remember what God was saying that day was really, he was letting you know just a smidgen of your future, just a smidgen of your importance for what he had to do. One of the things that he ended up saying was, your name in Denmark was going to be known. You were going to be, and he is literally the key point for Denmark. And then we're on that national television. All this different, and I'm watching this stuff go, as the years went by, and I'm going, man, that is so awesome the way God does that. But literally, he's going back. So prayers need to be there for this guy right here, because you're going to be a huge part of changing a whole lot of stuff over there. Is that right? Absolutely.
Where we came from and how it all got started. Personally, when I was 15 years old, I was driving the tractor on our family farm. And these guys have heard this story a few times before. Andreas used to travel with me, so he's heard it a lot of times before. But it still is my favorite story. And on the radio, and I had the wrong song for a lot of years, but on the radio came this new song by Norman Greenbaum called Spirit in the Sky. Do you know that song? I'd sing it for you, but you'd probably all walk out. But it was the coolest song. I was 15 years old at the time, just a couple years ago. And as I listened to the song, I thought, this is a song that talks about Jesus, and it's Christian. And that, if you know the history, that really didn't exist at that point. And I thought, and I got really excited for Christian rock and roll, and I thought, why couldn't we do that? I was already called to be a pastor, and I thought, I want to be a Christian rock and roll pastor, whatever that meant. So in a few years, I would meet Larry Norman, and a few years later, Keith Green, and all the original guys. Played with Larry for a little bit, and we would kind of be involved in pioneering some of the early Christian rock stuff. And gosh, those are great days. They were difficult days. The church wasn't real excited about what we were doing, but it was a wonderful time of just seeing people beginning to relate to God in their own way with their own music. And I just love that. By the way, Chris, you remember when Larry came in and he and I sat on the stage, and so there you go.
In fact, Larry Norman came to Sanctuary way back when, and he autographed my Bible.
That's cool. There you go.
Yes, I do remember that day.
Well, Larry and I sat on the stage at Sanctuary. What year was that?
88 maybe, 89, I don't know. It was a while ago though.
And we talked about the early days. We talked about, when everything got started and how everything was from the beginning. And we're just getting ready to release that video, by the way, of us sitting there. We actually have the footage, so that'll be kind of fun to put that on the internet. But so I've been involved with them for a while. When the whole metal thing started, I had promised myself that I would stay on the edge, wherever the edge was. was. And I'm still promising myself that, and it gets a little more interesting as the edge continues to get a little, well...
Edgier.
Edgier, thank you. But I remember hearing about this band that was in the same location that I was in, that was the guys had become Christians and they were going to start a Christian metal part of their band. They were called Rock Regime. And
Never heard of them.
and I remember I was the interim pastor at a church that was maybe 4 or 5 miles from where they lived, and so in Whittier. So as I was walking into the auditorium one day, this guy with really long hair came in and introduced himself to me. He was one of the roadies for Stryper, and said, you know, we wanted to meet you, and we wanted to tell you what we're doing, and we wanted to ask for your help. And so I said, well, after the service, let's do that. And we spent all afternoon talking, and Robert Sweet and Michael, and I can't remember who the other band members came in, and we chatted and decided to start Sanctuary. Michael Sweet was our first worship leader when we started, and we kind of started that way. Humble beginnings. We started with 17 bands. Before we started church service, we had all the early bands, and by early bands, we had everybody from Barren Cross to Holy Soldier to, gosh, I can't remember all of them now, but all the early ones were there. And it was a very exciting beginning, humble beginning. We went from there, we expanded, we opened up churches in a lot of different areas. Chris actually ended up going to Denver and starting Sanctuary in Colorado. He's still in Colorado. And we decided we wanted to kind of bring things down a little bit. We didn't want to become such a denomination, but we wanted to become autonomous. All of the churches autonomous and a little more loosely associated. And we felt like our strength was this. You know, people getting around, sitting around a table and talking, Socratic discussion, you know, discipleship, instead of a spectator sport where you come and listen to somebody talk and then go home. So that's kind of where we started that. And I moved from California to Nashville to begin international ministries because we were expanding quickly, and I realized that I couldn't pastor a church and travel so much, and so I decided to do that. Today, Dave Perdue, who, if you remember the band called Neon Cross from years ago, Dave is the pastor of the church in California now. So we began to expand. Really the first thing we did internationally was Bob Fest, and Andreas, I believe we had 12 different, was it 12 countries that were present, I think?
Yeah.
It was the first thing that we did in Europe like that. It was the first Christian Metal Festival. And we did it from 1999 to 2005, was it? Yeah. And then at that point, a lot of other festivals took off in other countries, so we didn't need to continue it. That was in Sweden and been in a lot of other countries since then. It's exciting though to see what God is doing, and you know, these days things have changed. We didn't have the internet. Can you imagine life without the internet? We didn't have the internet, things were very different. We sent out actual mail, you know, and we used to get, you probably remember, Chris, we used to get mail in the bagfuls every day. It looked like Santa Claus bringing in mail. We just had a staff of people that just answered mail and that took care of all that. And these days it's a whole lot easier with email and everything else that we have access to. But you know, I've been doing radio for a long time, and my history, I had the very first Christian rock radio show way back when. It used to be, I'm just going to ramble a little bit and then we'll tighten it up a bit, but I want to give you some history. It used to be that every radio station had to have 1 hour a week of religious broadcasting. I wish that was still true. It's not, but the FCC required that in those days. And so all of these rock stations were playing an hour-long church service or whatever they could find to fulfill it. So I came along and said, you know, I have a Christian rock show. And they were excited to do it, and before long we were on 43 different stations, and the early rock and roll Christian rock started getting out there, and others started doing the show, and it took off from there. A few years later, when the internet started becoming more popular, the radio show became podcasting, and we started with audio podcasting a few years ago, and now video. And I'm very excited about that. I think we've been able to reach a whole lot of people on a lot of different mediums, but we're just getting started. We're about to go live a lot more often. I'm about to do a video radio show. I've been asked to do a drive show, the kind of show that you do when you're driving to work, where they have a topic and they have people to call in and you have a special guest and all of that. We'll do that, but video style. So it'll be live and people can be involved. And we have more podcasters joining us. We just added Ronnie from, tell me what the name is. Signum Regis. Do you know the band? From Russia. Great guys, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're awesome. And Ronnie is great man of God and a bass player, and we're doing some musician type podcasting. He joins Roxas with the guitar. We have, if you're a drummer, we have one that's coming up, the old drummer for Ray Charles. And gosh, he's played with everybody, but Tim Pope will be joining us as well. And we have several others I'll announce as we get going, but we're real excited to continue to fulfill the needs of the metal community, however we can do that. We've been serving the metal community for 32 years now, and we're not dying down.